How Do I Feel by Roger C. When I went to rehab in 2010, it didn't feel like I walked through the doors at the main entrance. It felt like I crawled under those doors. I didn't know what I was doing there. I didn't know what happened, but I knew I had somehow committed myself to staying for 3 weeks. I didn't understand that either. I got used to the routines, nothing too complicated. Every morning at 6:30 a.m., we would all trundle down to the gym and do some exercises while listening to loud music. Then we would go outside and walk for a mile or so. After a while, I enjoyed starting my day that way. After the walk, we would have to check in. There was a lot of checking in. We would have to stop everything and get together with our group and check in with a counselor 3 times a day. One of the questions asked at check-in was, "How do you feel?" 3 times a day. How do you feel? I found the question a bit odd, to say the least, and there were rules about how you could answer the question. You weren't allowed to say, for example, "Fine." Apparently, that meant something like, "Effed up interior, nice exterior." Once I learned what it meant, I always wanted to answer, "Fine." I thought it described me pretty well, at least the interior part. There was even a sheet that they handed out that had a list of ways a person could feel and could answer the question. A list of 30 or 40 possible feelings? Can you imagine? With emoticons or whatever they're called, when asked, "How do you feel?" the answer had to be one of these, and never, ever the word "fine." So I dealt with this for about a week. 20 times or so, they asked me how I felt. Finally, I was in my group in the middle of the afternoon, and a counselor asked me the dreaded question. I had had enough. I let her rip, shouting at the top of my lungs, "Feelings? Feelings? Haven't you people been listening? Haven't you heard my story? I've been drinking for 40 years. I don't have feelings." For a few seconds, there was a stunned silence. Then my roommate, Daniel, started laughing, and then others joined in. Finally, everybody was laughing, roaring, really, including the counselor. I looked at these people around me, people I had gotten to know at least a little since entering rehab, and I did something I hadn't yet done at Homewood. I smiled. The next few weeks went by pretty quickly. Mostly, the counselors would smile when they asked how I felt, and I would smile back. Sometimes I would answer by picking a feeling from the list on the sheet, but every time I was asked, I would stop to think about it. How do I feel? I would ask myself. In recovery, I have learned to look at my feelings, to feel my feelings, to understand that I have them, to recognize and acknowledge them. And I have learned that it's okay to have nice feelings, even to nurture them. I can have good feelings about myself and about others. Imagine. I wasn't too good about caring for others before, but I have been giving it a try over the last few years, and it's amazing to me how just that, trying to care about others and sometimes succeeding, has changed how I live day to day, moment to moment. How do I feel? I may have crawled under the doors to get into rehab, but if someone had asked me how I felt as I walked out after completing my rehab, I would have answered truthfully, I feel hope. And it has been so ever since. About the author, Roger C. Roger C. is a member of Beyond Belief, the first agnostic AA group in Canada. In 2011, the group was booted off of the official AA meeting list by the local intergroup. Roger was part of starting the website AA Toronto Agnostics, which eventually became AA Agnostica. He has managed that site for the past 4 years and 4 months, posting on a regular weekly schedule 300 articles written by atheists and agnostics in AA from all over the world. That seriously cut into Roger's time for his two favorite sports, golf in the summer and squash in the winter. He looks forward to the day when AA drops his antiquated religiosity and becomes a true refuge for all those suffering from alcoholism. He also hopes to see the next WAFT, We Atheists, Agnostics, and Freethinkers Convention, in 2018, held in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, one of the proud centers of the secular AA universe. The print version of this story, How Do I Feel, by Roger C., can be found on the website aabeyondbelief.com in the Personal Stories section, dated December 13, 2015. This audio version was produced on December 21st, 2016.